She said it with a smile. 7 words, 1 interview, and suddenly Jeff Bezos' team is on an emergency call with the New York Times. Not a lawsuit, not a scandal in the traditional sense. Damage control. Because Lauren Sanchez looked a reporter in the eye and said she'd have Jeff's baby tomorrow. She's 56, he's 62, and a source close to the couple says Jeff ate it up. Wait, let's slow down, because the spokesperson had to call the paper back just to clarify that Lauren is not actually pregnant. That's how fast this thing spiraled. The reporter described her as wearing a coy smile, said it half in jest but seriously enough to make a point, and everyone watching had the same question. Who was that really for? Because nobody in that room was thinking about MacKenzie Scott. MacKenzie raised 4 kids with Jeff over 25 years. The sleepless nights, the school runs, the family breakfasts Jeff used to insist on before he stopped insisting on them. She did all of it without ever sitting down in a magazine to announce how badly she wanted to do it. She just did it. But here's where it gets weird. To understand this baby comment, you have to rewind to December 2016. An Apple party. Lauren's then-husband, Patrick Weitzel, walks her straight up to Jeff Bezos, smiles, makes the introduction himself. Patrick was a Hollywood heavyweight, Endeavor co-founder, represented Matt Damon, Christian Bale, the kind of man who'd seen every type of betrayal that town could cook up, and he never saw this one coming. 2 years later, Jeff hires Lauren's aerial filming company for Blue Origin. That's when they reconnected. Both married, both with kids. By January 2019, the National Enquirer had the texts, the photos, everything. Jeff and MacKenzie announced their separation. 48 hours later, Jeff confirmed Lauren. Patrick? Reportedly blindsided. Honestly, that detail always stuck with me. This is a man who'd sat across from studio heads for decades. People who knew him said he wasn't just heartbroken, he was humiliated, because everyone in Hollywood knew before he did. The man who made the introduction lost his wife because of it. You can't write this stuff. And here's a detail people keep missing. Lauren already had 3 kids before any of this. Nico, 25, from her relationship with NFL player Tony Gonzalez, Evan, 19, Ella, 18, both from her marriage to Patrick. Jeff has 4 with MacKenzie. That's 7 children between them. 7. And now she's talking about number 8, at 56. Not adopting, not fostering, not even saying she wants to be more present for the 7 kids who already exist. A brand new baby, from scratch. And that's not even the craziest part. The New York Times interview was supposed to be a rebrand. Fashion, philanthropy, her aviation company. The only thing anyone remembers is the baby quote. "I'd have one tomorrow." Tomorrow. You don't say that casually in the Times. That's a woman performing devotion for an audience, and the audience isn't buying it. One comment online said, "Nothing like turning 70 at their 8th grade graduation." Another went further, way further. And these weren't strangers being cruel for sport. A lot of them were parents, grandparents, people who'd actually raised kids. They were angry because they understood what this really was. Then came the fertility reports. Hollywood insider Rob Shooter said the couple is actively pursuing fertility options, specialists, funded research, what he called experimental treatments. Sources told reporters the budget for this is, direct quote, budgetless. Budgetless for a baby. Meanwhile, people in this country are rationing insulin because they can't cover a copay. Let that sit for a second. Some people speculate this is less about a child and more about an image, because just because you can doesn't mean you should. Do the math. When that child graduates high school, Jeff is 80, Lauren is 74. That's if everything goes perfectly, if the treatments work, if the pregnancy takes, if the specialists can actually deliver what billions of dollars are asking them to deliver. And here's the part nobody wants to talk about. Days after the baby comments went public, Jeff was photographed on vacation. The Irish Star described him as concerned. Concerned. Not glowing, not beaming, not holding her hand like a man who just got incredible news. He looked like someone doing math in his head, the kind of expression cameras catch when someone forgets they're being watched. This part doesn't add up, because a man who genuinely ate it up doesn't look like that 4 days later on a beach. Now, zoom out. The baby comment didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened less than a year after the Venice wedding. 3 days of celebrations. The Basilica of San Giorgio Maggiore. Between 200 and 250 guests. Oprah, Leo DiCaprio, Kim Kardashian, Bill Gates, Ivanka Trump. Estimated cost? Somewhere between $46 and $56 million. Locals in Venice protested the disruption. Amazon employees who'd just been laid off watched their former CEO throw a party that cost more than they'd earn in a lifetime. Lauren's dress? Custom Dolce & Gabbana, a year and a half to make, 180 silk buttons. Second dress? Inspired by the 1946 film Gilda. Third outfit? Oscar de la Renta, 175,000 crystals. That wasn't a wedding. That was a woman announcing her arrival. And now, less than 10 months later, she's announcing something else. The pattern is impossible to miss. Every few months, another headline, louder than the last. Rewind to January 2025, the inauguration. Lauren shows up in a white Alexander McQueen pantsuit, plunging neckline, a white lace bra visible to everyone in the room, seated directly behind Donald Trump. Every camera in America caught it. Mark Zuckerberg, sitting right next to her, was caught on camera appearing to glance down. That clip went everywhere. She later told The Times she was super proud of the look, then added, "I get it, no lace at the White House." Said she dressed for an outdoor event, wasn't prepared for the ceremony moving indoors. But people heard something different. Wore a lace bra to a presidential inauguration, got caught, got dragged, tried to spin it. Honestly, that explanation feels thin. The inauguration was for the cameras. Venice was for the cameras. The Met Gala sponsorship was for the cameras. And this baby comment? Some fans speculate it wasn't for Jeff at all. It was for the lens. And it's only getting worse. Reports say the couple may face ridicule at the 2026 Met Gala, which they're co-sponsoring. Designers have reportedly declined to dress her. Political baggage, they say. Now, compare all of this to MacKenzie Scott, because the contrast is what makes this story hurt. MacKenzie was there in the garage when Amazon was a laptop and an idea. She drove the moving van across the country. She packed the boxes. She raised 4 kids while helping build one of the biggest companies in history. And when Jeff left her, she didn't do a single interview about it. No sit-down, no tears on a morning show, no magazine cover talking about how much she loved being a mother. She just kept being one. That silence wasn't weakness. That was the loudest statement she could have made. Since the divorce, MacKenzie has given away more than $26 billion, over 2,700 nonprofits, women's shelters, education, mental health. Quietly, she lets the organizations announce the gifts instead of announcing them herself. One woman showed up after the money and wants the world to know she'd have a baby tomorrow. The other showed up before the money existed, raised 4 kids without fanfare, and gave away more than most countries produce in a year. One is performing motherhood in an interview. The other actually did it. And you have to wonder, is there anyone in Lauren's life with the nerve to tell her the truth? Because she's surrounded by people paid to say yes. Stylists, publicists, assistants. Not one of them pulled her aside before that interview and said, maybe skip the baby line. Because the baby line didn't make her think she was devoted. It made her think she was desperate. Desperate to prove this marriage is real, that this love is real, that she's more than the woman who left her husband for a richer man. Because when you're actually happy, you don't need to announce it in the New York Times. You just live it. And here's the part about Jeff that really gets me. This is the guy who built a career telling people to think long-term. Forget next quarter, think next decade. That was his whole philosophy. Look at his personal life now. A 25-year marriage gone for a woman who was introduced to him by her own husband. No prenup matching the trust he gave MacKenzie, and now reportedly unlimited money poured into fertility treatments because his 56-year-old wife told a newspaper she wanted a baby, and he loved it. That's not long-term thinking. That's a man who's lost the plot. MacKenzie has never said a word, not about the affair, not the wedding, not the inauguration, not the Met Gala, not the baby comments. She's never had to, because every time Lauren opens her mouth, she proves exactly what MacKenzie always seemed to know. Jeff didn't want to be loved, he wanted to be seen, and Lauren gives him that. Camera after camera, headline after headline. The saddest part, the kids. 7 of them watching their parents become a punchline. Nico is 25, Evan 19, Ella 18. Jeff's 4 with MacKenzie are old enough to read every headline, see every meme. These aren't toddlers.